So first thing, investors will be anticipating this week, and they want to know exactly what the Federal Reserve decides on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Whether or not we will have a 75 or a 100 BPS hike. In my opinion, they could do a 150 hike for all I care. That's not going to cure inflation. I promise you that, right? That's not going to cure inflation. At the end of the day, they're putting out numbers to try to calm people down. But inflation, we've been in a recession. It's just that they don't want to broadcast that because that will definitely upset the price, when it comes to the overall market, right? So they're trying to downplay what's happening when we all know that every single person in the world is currently feeling what's going on right now. So there's a lot of anticipation for Wednesday, because Wednesday this week is the break it or make it week one. We got the Federal Reserve coming out. We also have Fed, chair, not Chain, Powell. He has a conference at 2:30 p.m. that day as well. So whatever he says directly impact the market, and I highly recommend you, hey Chanel, if you do not like volatility, I do not recommend you to trade at 2:30. I recommend you to wait at least 15 minutes for Powell to say something, and then let's see how the market digests the information that Powell is saying. Why? Because oftentimes, as soon as 2:30 happens, you're either going to see a big green candle or a big red candle. Last time, it was a big green candle that went, fully red in less than a second. So you have to be careful if you are playing options and you're trying to play SPY. This week is full of big tech earnings. We have lots of earnings this week. Tech is definitely part of the mix. This is what we have for this week. All right. So after close today, we have a couple of ones that I do like, for example, Logitech. I'm not really invested into any of these companies, but tomorrow, Tuesday, is where we really come into play. Before open, we have UPS, we have McDonald's, and we also have Coca-Cola, and we also have GE and GM. But after close on Tuesday, tomorrow, that's where it's really going to get real, because we're going to have one Alphabet, which is Google, reporting earnings. We also have Microsoft reporting earnings. Every single person will definitely try to see whether or not Microsoft will beat their earnings, especially because Citigroup just did a price cut on Microsoft. That is the reason why Microsoft went down this morning, right? So definitely keep that in mind. We also have Visa, and we have Chipotle as other, powerhouses that I will consider for earnings. Before open, we have Shopify, we have Boeing, Spotify, and we have Humana. Humana is another big key player when it comes to healthcare. And then after close, we have Meta, which is Facebook, Ford, Qualcomm, and we have Etsy. Etsy is a stock that is one of those like silent killers, right? Like you don't really hear people talk about them, but it moves really, really well. Like it will give you opportunities. So Etsy is definitely one that I will highly recommend you to add it to your watches, because oftentimes it does have a good setup, one for long-term investment, and also when it comes to options trading opportunities as well. ServiceNow is another one that I highly recommend. For those that do not know what ServiceNow is a ticketing system, right? So ServiceNow is heavily used in the tech world for ticketing. That's how companies manage their tickets and stuff like that when it comes to their environment. So that's definitely a heavy hitter when it comes to tech. Before open, we have Tilray. Tilray is a weed stock out of Canada. We have Pfizer, we have Southwest, and we have MasterCard. So we do have a bit of financials as well into the mix this week. After close on Thursday, we have Apple, Amazon, Roku, and Intel. Thursday night is going to be a night that many people will talk about because of all the earnings that we have of companies that are reporting that exact same day. And then Friday, we have Exxon, Chevron, and we also have Arver. From the ones that I see here, the ones that I highly recommend you, that again, if you do play earnings and you want to, be exposed to that risk, the ones that I highly recommend you to do some research on and to go for will probably be Google, Microsoft, Shopify, Boeing, Apple, and Amazon. Those are 7 different stocks there. You do not have to go for all 7. If anything, what I highly recommend you to do, if you don't want to miss out on the earnings season, just choose one and just go for that one. That will definitely limit the exposure to risk, and you will still be able to play earnings. Earnings is definitely a complete gamble. And I do not think that earnings has a science to it. I do not think that it has a strategy. Definitely a gamble. So definitely keep that in mind. Is this a bear market rally? I have a question for everyone here, part of the audience, drop a 1 if you believe that this is just a dead cat bounce, right? A dead cat bounce where you think that we're going to go right back down. Okay, so lots of 1. Drop a 2 if you believe that we're bullish right now. Okay, all right, so everybody with the 1s, 100%. I truly believe that it is indeed a dead cat bounce. Last week, we talked about a very critical number, and that number was 396. And I want you to keep that number into account, and I want you to write that number and place an alert on that number. Why? 396 is the level that I gave out that if we hold and close above 396, we were officially bullish. We did not, hence we saw that drop, and that is indeed for SPY, 100%. So 396 is the level that we have to break above and hold in order to make what? In order to make another higher high, a new higher high. So market structure is what I'm definitely keeping into account here. On top of that, we have layoff season. Layoff season is definitely here. And companies like Apple, Microsoft for sure, I'm telling you, because I work at Microsoft, and I'm telling you, layoff season is here. The hiring has stopped drastically. At Microsoft, we saw a decrease in 23% in hiring. The entire spring, we were hiring constantly. Like every single day, I saw someone new join my team. That has stopped completely, right? On top of that, for Microsoft, we are now in a new fiscal. So every July is where companies like Microsoft, it's very unfortunate to say, but this is where they do their cleanup. Like they do their cleanup around June, July, and you see that we have reorgs, right? And again, the reorgs are pretty risky. Why? Because in the reorgs, they really identify who's really bringing value, right? Who are we actually going to keep on board, and who we're going to have to let go. This is why I tell people, I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're a trader. I don't care if you're working 9 to 5. If you're a dentist, if you're a doctor, try to be the best at your job. Like I want you to walk in there trying to be the best. Like no one's better than me here. I'm a dominate. I'm a control. Why? Because when you become that person, they can't let you go. When you become the person that if you leave, the whole operation is down, they can't let you go. And that's who you should. That's the type of level that you should be going for. I see oftentimes where people get laid off, and I really ask, okay, but what were you doing? What was the value or impact that you were actually bringing to the table? If you were just giving 50%, that's not going to cut it. So being the best at your job to the point where if you leave, the whole operation is down, that's definitely the ultimate goal when it comes to what you're doing at the end of the day when it comes to life. So can we break above 400? That's the key. After 396, can we actually break above 400? If we do not break above 400 or hold above 396, we are still in a very bear market. I think somebody mentioned stagflation. We've been talking for stagflation for a very long time now. Before any of this stuff happened in the spring, we talked about that stagflation is definitely here. We're going to be stagnant. The job claims, the unemployment claims will definitely increase. And then on top of that, the hiring will definitely stop. Inflation will continue going up, and it's just stagnant.